I just thought I'd set off for a couple of minutes about cuttings. It's just another way of producing stuff turned into bonsai. There's 3 times a year you can take cuttings. Now, middle of summer and late into autumn. Softwood cuttings now, these are just a little bit too early, but as these extend, get out to maybe 6 or 8 inches long, you can take them and use them as cuttings.
When the leaves open, yeah?
When they open up and they extend out a bit further, take a cutting, cut it just below a pair of leaves, whip off the bottom pair and possibly the next pair up as well. So you end up with a cutting about 4 inches with just leaves on the top, and into some nice pretty compost.
Might never work.
They should work, no reason why not. Okay?
I'll try this year.
Something you can try with them, if you're taking softwood cuttings, make up a solution of about ½ litre of water and 2 teaspoons of sugar.
Oh, right. 2 teaspoons of sugar.
And dunk them in there for a couple of minutes before you pot them.
Why sugar?
Because the plant will soak up the sugar solution and use it as food.
Oh.
And a couple of teaspoons of sugar. You say, if you're taking cuttings, you're better off to prepare your soil first, because the shorter time you've got that cut end exposed to air, the better.
And you take with some of them?
Well, you can take them now, the softwood cuttings, the semi-hardwood cuttings. These are softwood. As these extend out to be 6 inches long, you can use that. You don't want to take them now, you don't want to fancy that. Wait till the middle of summer, and these start turning hard, they become covered with bark like this. Yeah. And take the same, exactly the same again on the semi-hardwood cuttings. 4 to 6 inches long, pair of leaves on the end, in the sugar solution, in your gritty compost.
Any ice? Any of those?
Any tree, basically. Oh, any tree, not just maples. Any of the deciduous trees can be done like that. Pines are a different game. They don't generally take from cuttings.
Do you use rooting hormone as well?
I do and I don't. Depends whether I remember. To be honest, I don't think it makes a lot of difference.
Yeah, sorry. How long have you been in the solution?
Just a couple of minutes.
14 years.
Take hardwood cuttings, generally a little bit bigger, a little bit thicker. Just a straightforward clean cut on the end, plop them into some gritty soil or in a bed in the garden and leave them. They might take as much as 12 months to show signs of life, so don't pull them out too quick. Right? If they don't leaf up in spring, don't panic. You might find June, July, even August, they suddenly start growing. So you want a nice quiet bed somewhere that you can leave them alone for a while.
Flat straight across or flat an angle?
I usually cut a bit of an angle. Yeah, I use these cutters because I can just select the angle. It's a clean cut, straight in the ground. In the back of the board where the wife can't see, to be honest. It's behind the pen. We've got ground layering and air layering. The ground layering will basically be where a tree or a shrub growing in the ground, you're looking for something that's got a reasonably long, low branch. So what you want to do is bend that down into the soil. So take that, bend it down below soil level. Yeah. Cut the bottom off that, or even ring bark it, and bury it in the soil. It's a slow process, almost guaranteed to work. Nature does this all the time. You see the big beaks, the big branches that gradually end up in the ground, and off they go again. So that's a good way. The problem with it is you end up with a bit of a hooked base. Might be a bit of a problem. If you could just grain stock to grow onto something big, that's less of a problem. If you're looking for small stuff, it may be. Where it really comes into its own, got a big tree and a big branch. If you can bend that down, do it like that, all of a sudden you've got a raft. That hooked end doesn't matter then, because that's going to be cut off anyway. You get roots at this point, roots at this point, roots at that point. Game on, isn't it?
Mm.
Quick way of making a raft. It's quicker than doing it as an air layer.
Mm.
You're a little bit concerned about the hooked end. you can put a cut into that to try and help things along. Little angled cut into there, open that up, perhaps put a bit of stone or a bit of grit or something in there just to make sure it stays open, and that will take roots as well. You get a straight edge when you cut that off then.
What root? The root.
Yeah, we cut the original branch line off at that point. The tree that you get is reasonably straight. This works reasonably well for standing styles. Upright styles are a bit awkward because you get that hooked end. So in bonsai terms, has this limited appeal. Growing on for big stock, lovely. Looking to get small stuff, a bit of a problem. Air layer makes that easier. So let's start with a bit of the science behind it. That's the heartwood in a tree. That's the sapwood. And on the outside of the sapwood, I can find another coloured pen, wouldn't it? That's green, believe it or not.
We are colourblind.
Can you see that? Can you see the green in that? No, I didn't think so. It's a bit dark. Anyway, I'll label this up anyway for you so you'll know what's what. Right. That's the centre of your tree.
I think I have highlighter in my card. You won't try that.
That's the heartwood in the centre. Next out is your sapwood. And the green layer that you can't really see is the cambium. Okay? And I forgot one minute. That's your inner bark. Then the layer around the outside, your bark. Now the reason why air layers survive and grow easier than cuttings is the moisture comes up through the sapwood. So even when you've done your ring barking, the tree's still got moisture keeping the leaves alive. So the tree will survive a lot longer while it has a chance to throw out roots. With a little cutting, if it dries out before it gets roots, it's dead. So it's a bit of a race. This way's slower but surer. Okay? So your sap comes up through there and it comes down through the inner bark. Now, I know everybody tells you that it comes up and down through the cambium. It's not quite the whole story. The cambium has the ability to create new sapwood on the inside face, at the same time as it produces inner bark on the outside face. And that's what the cambiums do for you. It's not actually transporting food up and down. The sapwood and the inner bark does the work. The cambium produces the wood that makes the tree bigger. Does that make sense? The bark in two places. Now the distance apart isn't critical. What you normally work on is at least the diameter of the trunk, possibly a bit more. Okay? And we will cut it so you get in to that cambium line. You'll end up with a tree that looks like that. Yeah? The cambium we need to get rid of, so that needs scraping down. I'll show you that in a second. Once we've done all that, we'll cover all that in sphagnum moss right the way around and coat the whole thing in a plastic bag which we'll tie off top and bottom to make it stay in place. Simple, isn't it? Shall we have a go?
Yeah.
That side's all dead. Until you get down to about this level. So that's the candidate for air layering. But really I'm after the base, not the top in this instance. There's no reason why you can't get rid of the top and sell it to somebody, buy yourself a good pot for the piece you keep. And sometimes I layer the top and keep it and give away the bottom. So bear in mind, it's not all about just getting that really nice piece. Maybe I just want rid. I get that off, get rid, buy myself a decent pot for the piece I do keep. In that instance I took the top because it was nice. That one's a maple. It was 8 foot tall when I got it, but I only went the bottom one. I've taken 3 air layers off that and sold them to club members. And bought that pot and a bit more. It was nice, it was in a big black bucket like a lot of them are. Wriggled around a little bit and then went straight up 8 foot tall. There's not a lot of interest in all that, except its material looks too good to waste, because it's this sort of diameter. So I just 3 air layers off it. Oh, big step back one way. It was 8 foot tall and I couldn't get it in the car. So I borrowed a saw off the girl behind the counter and cut it in half just so I could get it in the car. So I only took 4 foot home. I asked for a discount the other half, she didn't give me one. After June it tends to get a bit harder to get them to take. Right, something like a Alcove will generally root in about 8 to 10 weeks. If I do it now, I'll get this off this year. If I leave it till June, it might take 10 to 12 weeks. Probably won't get it off, so I've got to protect it through winter. Not a major concern. If you haven't got enough roots at the end of summer, wrap it up in a bit of bubble wrap for frost protection and leave it till next spring. So, you know, don't panic about this, but Alcoves are usually pretty quick, maples are pretty quick. 8 to 10 weeks we'll have roots on these. So I've been looking at this one, and it's ugly. Let's not beat about the bush, it's an ugly lump. I got it because the price was right. It was free. I got it with the intention of just having a play with it, really, to be honest. The roots are not great. It's got a nice wide base, but the roots are big, fat, ugly things. I thought maybe I could do something with them, but I'm not sure what. It's been sat in my garden now for 12 months and I haven't done anything. I thought, well, time to do something. So what I was thinking of doing was perhaps take that one piece off the top and do another one down here somewhere. Because I think that middle section I could perhaps turn into a raft. I said earlier. See? Turn it over there. I've got half a dozen trunks there straight away. So that section between my hands may make a raft. And that leaves me with an ugly little base that I'll worry about next time round. So let's go for one here to set us off. I'm going to take that branch off because it's in the way. So I need to cut this round, what's that, inch diameter? So inch and a half between the two cuts. Nice sharp knife.
No ways of doing it there.
There we go. Nice and clean all round. Reasonably clean top cut. The bottom cut doesn't matter. Right? This is the point at which the roots appear. Right? So that's the point you need to cover with moss. A lot of people tend to do, they put the moss on covering all that joint. Doesn't actually matter. That line's the bit that matters to you. So make sure the moss is nice and tight around there. See, there's real art to this. One thing I have noticed with a lot of people when they do these areas is they're a bit skimpy with the moss. Don't be shy about putting plenty on there.
So you wait it and squeeze it.
That's too dry. Right, somewhere between the two. Give that a second to do. Piece of plastic. actually used 2 sheets of plastic on this. The clear goes on first for the simple reason I can see no roots coming. Right, so nice and big to make sure it can go around the tree. I squeeze it till it stops dripping, purely to rub me out. And I want to create a sausage in the middle of my line of plastic. There's my sausage.
Good. It's big.
Now the trick is getting it on the tray
You need a hand.
without throwing it on the floor. You see now when I cut that branch off here.
It'd be nice to have an assistant, wouldn't it?
No, I can do it myself. I'm very independent. It is easy with 2. What I'm looking to create initially is a cone. So I've got it pulled tight at the bottom. Get some wire around it so it will stay there. I've got my ice cream cone. Now what I'll do is I'll start to pack that down a little bit. You don't want fluffy moss. You want it nice and firm. So at this point you can top it up a bit. I don't use pliers or anything to tighten those up. What I want is firm, but not dead tight on the trunk. What I'll do now, the only way this will get any more moisture is when it rains or I water, I'll water the top of the tree. As it runs down the trunk and branches, it will find its way in. But for the same reason, don't over tighten the bottom, because you want this moist but not soaking wet. Alright, so just firm, that's enough. Right, good sized ball, as even as you can manage it. Mine's a bit lopsided actually, isn't it? Maybe I'll try that again.
Will that affect
No.
how you root?
It's nice to have a nice even ball all the way around, give it a nice even chance.
Okay.
There's no rush for doing this, it doesn't matter if it takes me 4 attempts to get it in there. As long as I've got plenty in there when I'm done, and it's a good sized ball, we've got game on. One ball of moss. And that's all it needs, with one exception, which is a bit of black plastic. And all the black plastic adds to it is the fact that most roots prefer to grow in the dark. So this just excludes the light. Bin bag, empty compost bag, it doesn't matter what. Try not to include branches in there, you can grow your branches once you've got roots. Just another piece of wire to hold that in place. I don't always put them on the bottom because it just tends to stay there anyway. There's no reason why you can't. And just keeps the light out. I want to go somewhere out in the sun for the duration of it being on there, 8-10 weeks. Somewhere out in the sunshine. If you put it in the sun, it tends to get very warm because of the black on it. Now they won't grow in daylight because they don't like too much heat either. Put it in the sun, the temperature goes up over about, I think it's 26 degrees, root formation stops. So out with the sun is ideal. Nice shady corner, keep it moist. And all I do in the way of keeping it moist is I water the rest of the tree, let it run down the branches. The excess will drain out the bottom. Simple.
So if you're laying from a tree that's actually in the ground,
Yeah.
you haven't got the beauty of moving that into the shades. So.
No, you just got to take your chances. They will often root anyway, but they tend to be a bit slower. Because when the temperature goes up, they stop root formation, so it all sits dormant till the temperature goes back down and start forming roots again. So you may find you get to the end of summer and you haven't got roots. Simply because it's got too warm, too many times. Early in the year, you can often get the roots before hot weather arrives. Apple trees, lovely. They root really easily. Because they leaf out early as well, get an earlier on now. By the end of June, you've probably got the thing off the tree. Yeah, if it's particularly hot summer, put a bit of bubble wrap on. You just stop the heat penetrating quite so much. Tin foil I've seen on trees as well. Looks a bit weird when it's in your garden, but that helps. So there's ways around it. Just be aware that the excess temperature slows things down. So if you've no choice but to leave it in the sunshine, do what you can to help the temperature fall.
Malcolm, you said you didn't put any hormonal liquid or anything like that, but in that controlled situation where it's in a container like this, can you add feed or do anything differently to help this all work? Or just you just water the tree, the main pot in the normal manner?
No, the work that would help the tree would be last year. So you want a nice healthy tree to do this too. If it's a weak tree, it probably hasn't got the energy to throw roots. So the trick is feed the tree the year before. If it's nice and healthy, reasonably strong.
No point feeding it now.
Feeding now won't get back to these. So you can leave that alone. You can water and feed your tree as normal, not feed all this lot. But it won't make any difference to that bit. So there's no reason why you can't carry on styling and working on the rest of your tree while you wait for that to come off. And not that particular piece, it's not a nice tree. But you know, if this was a nice tree and I'm getting rid of a portion, there's nothing stopping me wiring all this and working on all this and feeding for what I want on this section and just leave that to do its own thing. Anyway, as we've just done, what we'll do is cut a narrow band about the size of a good fat wire, 4 or 5 mil wire. So those two cuts are about 5 mil apart, again down into the cambium, clean it all out. And then what we'll do is we'll wrap a wire around the tree and twist it up nice and tight. Now that will have the same effect of cutting off the float down the tree and causing it to root at this point. It tends to be a little bit slower than this method, but it works well on the likes of pines and cedars, hawthorns, the ones that throw out roots a bit slower anyway. You might find it takes a couple of years. The advantage of it is, it does tend to throw a fattening just above the cut point, which helps that root flow when you do get it off. Clean it all off. Again, you can see where the cambium is because immediately starts turning brown when it's exposed to fresh air. Now, if you want to do this with power tools, that's fine. Get yourself a Dremel or a small grinder of some description in there. It doesn't matter particularly how much of this wood you take away, as long as the tree is physically stable so it doesn't fall over in the breeze. So if you used to shave this away to even half the thickness it is now, it wouldn't cause you any great concerns. The tree's still got plenty of wood to stand up for itself. You can take your bets on whether I want to put this on tonight.